Hello and welcome back to Tales of Lumin. Today we are reviewing some Hearthstone cards from the Grand Tournament expansion. I've got some coffee here to help me out because I'm feeling a little under the weather. I nearly got sick, but I didn't. So it's actually all good because I'm not sick. But my throat, I don't even know. It was bad. But these cards are good. The coffee is good and Nero's good. Look at that. Oh, he's like a little baby. So handsome, man. And that looks so comfortable. Am I lined up? That's good. Okay, so, neutral cards. In this video, we have a look at all the neutral cards. Commons, rares, epics, legendaries. In the next one, we have a look at all the class cards. Now, I actually recorded the class card video first, thinking that was a bright idea, but it wasn't. I only realized afterwards that it would make more sense uploading the neutrals first, so now we're doing neutrals. Ignore any references I make that don't add up, because they're being uploaded in the wrong order. Whatever. Having a look at all the cards, starting with North Sea Kraken. We're going to go from commons to rares, to epics, to legendaries. Saving the best for last. North Sea Kraken. 9 mana, 9/7. It's a big worm type thing. Is a Kraken? What is a Kraken? It's like a sea monster. Battlecry, deal 4 damage. This is... it's interesting. It's 9 mana. It's huge. 9/7. It's like a mega fire elemental that costs way too much. It's kind of unusable. I guess it'll be the bomb in the arena, but even so, like, I don't know, in arena, if you have something like that in your opening hand, for instance, you're done. I don't know. It's a big Kraken. That's pretty much it. I don't think much else of it. Next up, Tournament Medic. 4 mana. Inspire, restore 2 health to your hero. It's a 1/8. 1/8 for 4 mana. That's quite large, okay? Although, if you think about it, a Death Lord is a 2/8. It's got Taunt, and it's only 3 mana. But this guy, he doesn't have anything negative about him, except his face, maybe. He looks a little worried. I suppose that could be some negativity there. Inspire, restore 2 health to your hero. For those that don't know, Inspire is the new mechanic they added. Whenever you use your hero ability, it'll do whatever the Inspire is. So, in this case, if you're a priest, for instance, you could heal a minion, as an example, and then you'll also restore 2 health to your hero. I guess this is supposed to be anti-aggro, but, I mean, I don't know how good it'll work. I see this working quite nicely in a health flip, okay, a confuse-based priest deck. Now, Confuse is a priest card that was added that I'll have a look at in the next video, which I've actually already had a look at, that flips the health and attack of minions. This is one of those that would really work quite well with it. So you put this out, and your opponent doesn't prioritize it very highly. You put down a Mogushan Warden, you put down a Death Lord, whatever, you flip them over with Confuse for just 2 mana, and then suddenly you've got lethal. I don't know. It's interesting. Okay, it's interesting. It's 4 mana, which is okay. 1/8 is also okay, especially if you taunt it up with a Sunfree Protector or Defender of Argus. Next one. Silverhand Regent. This has caused a lot of confusion and anger amongst a lot of people, just because. 3 mana for a 3/3. Inspire, summon a Silverhand Recruit. A 1/1 Silverhand Recruit, just like the Paladin's hero power. So basically, this neutral card will allow any of the other heroes to summon Silverhand Recruits. Paladin, hero power, dudes. Paladins were angry about this. Like, really angry. Just because, well, class pride and all that. I don't know. I don't know. It's pretty good, I guess, if you consider that if you play this and you're a Paladin, you'll be summoning 2. And then there are a bunch of other minions and things that will modify your hero ability as well. Then you could potentially summon even more than 2. I guess it's good for that kind of deck. If you're playing like a full-on token weenie Paladin, it could work in there. Token Druid. Many of these decks that want like small disposable minions, this card would be for them. It's okay. Next. Flame Juggler. 2 mana, 2/3. Battlecry, deal 1 damage to a random enemy. Okay. He needs to take some lessons from the Knife Juggler. That is actually, well, more useful. I guess, you know, this could potentially be good to shut down, once again, aggro to 2-3, which is okay, I suppose. But you must keep in mind the battle cry is not to a random minion, it's to a random enemy. So it's random, but it's an enemy. So if they play like a Leper Gnome and a Worgen Infiltrator, you play this on turn 2, you could kill one of them. You could also hit face with it. That's a thing that could happen as well. It's okay, I guess it's not that great. I'm not a big fan of it. Next up, the Silent Knight. It's a funny name. 3 mana for a 2-2 with Stealth and Divine Shield. I think this is the first time that there's a Stealth Divine Shield combo. It's a little weird. 3 mana for a 2-2. No, that won't work. I guess it could work in like a Buffeton type deck where you want a minion out and you want it to survive for a turn. This one will definitely survive because it's got Divine Shield and Stealth. It's super hardy. It will be alive in the next turn. You play it. In the next turn, you buff it with everything you got and then you just smash face. I suppose, well, faces, not specifically face. I suppose it could be okay like that, but I don't know. Otherwise, it's a 2-2 for 3, which is not great. Just not great. Argent Horse Rider. 3 mana. 2-1, Divine Shield, charge. I actually kind of like this one. This is a 3 mana, 2-1. But because of the Divine Shield, I suppose the 1 health doesn't really matter all that much. Also charge. I don't know. I mean, I see this working in, like, one of those aggro paladin type decks, but maybe a different type one. I don't know. I don't get it. It's good, but it's also not good. It's a weird card. I like charge. I like Divine Shield. I don't know if I like a 3 mana 2-1. I'm not sure. Next, Muglar's Champion. 5 mana for a 4-3. This is an interesting one. All these are common so far, by the way. I'll mention when we get into the rares, or you can just, you know, look. Muglar's Champion has Inspire, give you other minions +1/+1. That's good, but with all these Inspire minions, one has to always keep in mind. Also, this is a gorilla or baboon monkey type thing riding a hippo. That's worth noting. Okay, it's worth noting. With these Inspire type minions, you always have to add 2 to their cost to sort of figure out their real worth. This guy, for 7 mana, you can play him and give all your minions +1/1. I don't know if that's really good. I don't know. It's like you play this guy on turn 5, he's going to be dead by the time your next turn starts, so you're not going to be able to do that. So I don't know. He's pretty average at best. The most important thing to note here is that he's a beast. That, I guess, means that druids could use him in like a token druid beastie type deck. Hunters could use him. I don't know. It's, again, okay. Again, these are the commons, so I guess we can't expect too much. Next, Lance Bearer. 2 mana. 1-2. Battlecry, give a friendly minion +2 attack. I kind of like this one. I think it's actually a good card. I would go as far as to say this is a good card. So, this is different than Abusive Sergeant for a number of reasons. Firstly, it's a 1-2, not a 2-1. Secondly, costs a little bit more. Thirdly, the Battlecry is permanent. So you put 2 attack on a minion. Various uses for this. You can enhance your damage capabilities. You can do more damage to the enemy's face or minions or whatever. Or you could put it on something and obviously big game hunter it. I don't know. It's okay. It's not terrible. This is not a terrible card. 5. Actually, it's a pretty good card, like I said. 5 mana, 5/5, Clockwork Knight. 5. I just go and say 5. This is a mech. Okay. And his battle cry is give a friendly mech +1/+1. The 5 mana slot, I think, is one that was vacant for mechs. What does Blingtron cost? Is he 5? I suppose he's there, but this guy, he is obviously going to be a lot different than that. He's also got some cool art, but like the battle cry, a friendly mech 1/1. Why would you play this over something like a Shattered Sun Cleric, which is much cheaper? And I mean, I suppose it's a 5/5. I don't know. I don't know, and it's only on mix, so like... that's all I think about that card. Lowly Squire. 1 mana for a 1/2, inspire, gain +1 attack. This is okay. Again, it's like, you know, if you plan on playing this on turn 1, and then inspiring on turn 2, doing your hero ability, then on turn 2 you got 2/2 to attack with. Is that really special? You could rather just play a 1-drop that's a slightly bigger minion, because he's not going to survive long enough to be bigger than, like, at most a 3/2. So I don't know. I don't know what niche he would fit into. I guess he could again fit in like a paladin deck or something. He could fit in a paladin deck or something. I don't even know where he'd fit. I do not even know where this guy would fit in. Next. Maiden of the Lake. This is a pretty big one. An important one for the Grand Tournament expansion. 4 mana, 2/6. That's pretty okay. Your hero power costs 1. Beautiful artwork as well. Needs to be mentioned. This is big because the whole Inspire thing is pretty important in the Grand Tournament with all the cards from the Grand Tournament. So this lady right here, she's going to help you out. She's going to make you able to cast your hero ability a whole lot more or a lot quicker. So all of the cards that have Inspire on them could potentially be used 1 turn earlier if you have her out. So you put her out on turn 4, on turn 5 you play something that is Inspire and costs 4 mana, then it'll fit. So, for instance, a couple of cards back, I was talking about Mukla's Champion. You could potentially play him and use him on turn 6 instead of on turn 7. It's okay, it's okay. It'll fit in Inspire heavy decks. Mage specifically can make really good use of this. It synergizes well with one of the legendaries we're going to have a look at in a little bit, which has an amazing Inspire ability. It's okay. This is a pretty good one, I guess, if you're going to be fiddling around with Inspire. And again, the art is beautiful. It's a nice looking lady. I like it. I like the card. I think that this one will definitely see a lot of play, especially while people are still trying to figure out what's going on with the meta. Trying to, like, fiddle with new decks and all the possibilities revolving around Inspire. You're going to see this a lot. Next. Dragonhawk Rider. This is an interesting one. 3 for a 3/3. Inspire, gain Wind Fury this turn. It's a slightly bigger Wind Fury minion for a reasonable cost. I think that this one is okay. It's not amazing. Like, again, you could do some interesting stuff here with buffs from, say, Paladin or maybe a Power Overwhelming or something. But you put Power Overwhelming on here, it'll be a 7/7. Then you can, like, smack face, that's 14 damage. Obviously, if you're inspired already. I think it's okay, right? I don't know. I mean, I don't know how this would fit in. But again, with buffs and stuff, having Surprise Wind Fury is always something pretty great. Next up. Refreshment Vendor. 4 mana for a 3/5. There's that 4 mana 3/5 again. That's so common. This one is Battlecry, restore 4 health to each hero. This is good. I mean, it's very anti-aggro, and there are a lot of anti-aggro cards in TGT. Will people play it? Sure. I think that there will probably be a lot of people messing around with this to try and, you know, use that heal for a specific reason. Maybe you're playing a mill deck. Maybe you just playing a big fat heal deck. I don't know what kind of deck you'd want to play with something like this, but 4 mana for a 3/5's average. It's pretty okay. It's not amazing. There are a lot of cards, like I said, with that same value, but restoring health is kind of important, especially against aggro or whatever. It might slow them down, it might make them think twice, and then you got a big-ish body on the board when you play it. Plus, it's a Tuskar having a feast, so, like, that's great. Next, Pit Fighter. 5 mana for a 5/6. She is Yeti's big bad sister. I don't know. That's pretty much it, right? Yeti's 4 mana for a 4/5. This is 5 mana for a 5/6. I assume it's going to be great in Arena. I don't know. I don't think much about this card. There's no text on it. Whatever. Same as this one. Yeah. No text on this either. Captured Jomunga. 7 mana for a 5/9 beast. 5/9 is massive. Right? It's massive. It's got ice tusks. That's pretty terrifying, right? 7 mana, 5/9, beast. That could pop out of a web spinner. That could be given to you when you play one of these cards that give you a random beast or whatever. I guess. Evil Heckler. 4 mana, 5/4, taunt. This guy, okay? He has been causing a lot of controversy because power creep? I don't know. People think, or people are saying, and it's true, he's just a straight up better version of the Booty Bay Bodyguard. Which is a 5 mana, 5/4 with taunt. That's the only difference. A 1 mana difference. 4 mana, 5/4 taunt. This is, you know, strictly 100% straight up better than Booty Bay Bodyguard. People are calling it power creep. I think Ben Brode already replied and said it's not power creep. It is not power creep at all if the other card was never played before. Like, it was too bad to be played. So Booty Bay Bodyguard was not played seriously in any decks. So I guess they put in something that could potentially be played, but probably won't be. Why would you ever play this? You know, it's just 5/4 with taunt. No, probably not going to happen. Right? Right. Still, made a lot of people angry. There's another one that made a lot of people angry, but was slightly more funny though. We'll get to it. Oh, here it is. Next card, Ice Rager. 3 mana for a 5/2. That's it. Ice Rager. You may remember Magma Rager, which is 3 mana for a 5/1. Oh, more power creep. This is, again, strictly better. There's no reason to play a Magma Rager above an Ice Rager. There you go. It happened. Power creep in Hearthstone. Whatever, okay. Whatever. Like, no one's gonna play this card. No one played Magma Rager. I think if they add a 5/3 for 3, then people might consider it. So a year down the line, maybe they can release a Earth Rager, okay, and it can be a 5/3. Then people might play it, but probably not. Whatever. Next one, Bone Guard Lieutenant. 2 mana for a 3/2. Inspire, gain +1 life. That's pretty okay, I guess. What I kind of like about this guy is that when you put him out, turn 2, then you have the option to, on the next turn, give him +1 life to allow him to trade, not up with something, but trade with something and still remain alive. So it doesn't give him extra attack. He's not going to kill a 4 health minion, but he could potentially kill a 2 attack minion without dying. It's okay, right? It's okay. Not terrible, not great. It's okay. It's a 2 mana 3/2. Next up, the Frigid Snowbolt. It's about time that they added another Cobalt. Here he is. 4 mana for a 2/6. Spell damage +1. Okay. I have nothing to say about him. It's another Cobalt. It's good. Well, it is what it is. So, next card is the Kvaldir Raider. 5 mana for a 4/4. Inspire. Gain 2/2. That is a floating watcher, right? It's pretty much a floating watcher, isn't it? So every time you use your hero ability, he gets 2/2 bigger. I think this is probably going to be a beast in the arena. I mean, even in normal situations, in other games, it could be used in rank play or whatever. Not greatly. It's not going to be like feared for its potency in battle, but, you know, it's not bad-ish. It's not terrible, rather. Right? 5 mana, 4/4 is terrible, but just 1 Inspire makes it a 6/6. 2 Inspires makes it an 8/8, and then it's damn scary. So it's something that will have to be dealt with real quick. Obviously, on 4 health, it's pretty easy dealing with it, so you'd have to play it on turn 7. So I don't know, maybe it is actually terrible. Here is the Tournament Attendee. It's the next card. 1 mana for a 2/1 with Taunt. This card is bad. I don't know why you'd ever play it. I suppose there's this new Taunt Warrior type of deck that might arise in the Grand Tournament, and this guy might fit in there because they've got a card called Bolster, which gives all minions a Taunt +2/+2. If he gets +2/+2, and you can use that on turn 2, it's a 2-mana card. So if you play him on turn 1, turn 2 you play another one, you coin out Bolster, you got a stacked board. It's okay, but on its own it's just pretty bad. Next, 1 mana, Gadget Sand Jouster. This is a 1/2, and its battle cry is reveal a minion in each deck. If yours is bigger, gain +1/+1. So what's pretty cool about this is that it is potentially a 1 mana 2/3, which is a la Zombie Chow. There's not much of that type of value or size in the game right now, so it can be really good, but what if you play this and it reveals your other Gadget Sand Jouster? What if that happens? Or maybe you put one of these and one... No, then one Zombie Chow is obviously going to be the same thing, then it reveals that. So you play this in a control deck, I guess, and you make sure you only have those 2 small minions in, the rest are all large, and then that's your early game right there. I don't know. I do not know. These are weird. The Jousting minions are weird. So this battle cry is called the Joust, for those that don't know. Then the 2 cards pop up, it shows them both. If yours is more expensive, you get the boost. If it's not, then you get nothing, but you also get to see the cards in the deck. It's weird, because, like, if you play it 1 for a 1/2, it's kind of useless. It's not great. You could get much better 1-drops, or much more useful 1-drops, not much better. But if you do get to win that Joust, so if you get lucky every single time or whatever, then it ends up being really good. Because a 1 mana 2/3 is great. You guys have to tell me what you think about the Jousting. You have to tell me. Next up, Colosseum Manager. 3 mana for a 2/5. Inspire, return this minion to your hand. This is our first rare. Does he deserve to be a rare? Probably not. I don't know. Like, is he good? Probably not. I don't know. What do you want to do with a minion like this? You attack into something, you kill it, you return it to your hand, you play it again, you do the same thing next turn. Why else would you return minions to your hand? I don't know. No, I don't know. That what I said there is the only reason I'd see anyone playing this, and even so, I guess 3 mana for a 2/5 is okay. And it would be good at doing that specific one thing. But what if you don't want to return to your hand and you want to use your hero ability? Ugh, then you're out of luck. Next card, Argent Watchman. 2 mana, 2/4, can't attack, inspire, can attack. This turn. 2 mana, 2/4. Like, that's okay. It's okay. It's like a weird floating, weird Ancient Watcher. 2/4 though. I don't know. I'd rather just play a 2 mana 2/3 or 2 mana 3/2 or whatever. Like, I don't... You have to inspire to make it attack, so you're forced to use your hero ability when you want to attack. Sure, if you taunt this up, it could be okay. So you play a deck with Ancient Watchers, with these guys, with that troll that we looked at before that heals you when you inspire, and you just put lots of taunters in, like Sunfree Protectors, Defender of Argus, and that stuff. Fine, that could be okay, but I don't know. You could silence him. That would be a bit of a waste. Whatever. Next card. Injured Kvaldir. 1 mana for a 2/4. Battlecry, deal 3 damage to this minion. So he's actually a 2/1. I kind of like this card. I think it's very interesting, but at the same time I think it's also pretty bad. Like, even on turn 1, if you get it, like, okay, you could use this in Priest. You could just use this in Warrior as well. Like, those are the 2 I would see this working in. Just Priest and Warrior. Warrior because you can, like, Rampage, you can Battle Rage. There are a few things in Warrior that actually want your minions to be damaged. Priest because you can abuse Northshire Cleric, Circle of Healing, that whole combo. But still, like, getting this dude out, having him in play, 1 mana for 2/4, that's okay. But what is 2 attack gonna do for you? With Injured Blade Master, you've got 7 health. You've got 4 attack. That's beefy. That's a real big minion. This guy... And that's only 2 mana more. This guy's... He's... not as swole as that, okay? Just... He's okay. I don't know. It's an interesting dude, but not a great dude. That's what I say. Next, Armored Warhorse. 4 mana for a 5/3. Battlecry, reveal a minion in each deck. If yours costs more, gain charge. This could be good if you win every single joust. Because for 4 mana, a 5/3, consider for a second, for a moment maybe, that Argent Commander to Northrend is 6 mana for a 4/2 with Charge and Divine Shield. This is 1 extra damage, 1 extra life, no Divine Shield, sure, but it could potentially have Charge, and it's 2 mana less. So it can be like really good, but at the same time it can be pretty bad. Same amount of stats as Leroy Jenkins, pre-nerf for the same mana if you get Charge on it. Huh? Yeah. Could be okay, right? Could be okay. Next up, Master Jouster. 6 mana for 5/6. Battlecry, reveal a minion in each deck. If yours costs more, gain Taunt and Divine Shield. 6 mana for a 5/6 with Taunt and Divine Shield is pretty sick. That's really good. I'm pretty sure that arena players are all sorts of happy about this guy. But again, it's a Joust, so he might just be 6 mana for a regular 5/6. Which is also not terrible, but it's also not good. I mean, we looked at the Pit Fighter earlier, which was better. It was 1 cheaper. But it didn't have the option of getting Taunt and Divine Shield. Next up, Light's Champion, 3 mana for a 4/3. Battlecry, silence a demon. I mean, that's interesting. They didn't add more silences, as far as I know, in the Grand Tournament. So, I don't know. Like, this would only really be good against Warlocks. When do you ever know that you're only playing against Warlocks? In a tournament, maybe? Silence a demon. Maybe it's just a flavor card. I don't know. 3 mana for a 4/3. There are lots of minions in the game with those stats already. Well, not lots, but there are a couple. That's okay. Not terrible. I think that that's still gonna be killed by a couple of 2-drops that are in the game right now. Like, for instance, Knife Juggler, which is literally in every single deck. But silencing a demon, I don't know why specifically demons. Generally, they want to be silenced, I suppose. Just think of a few, like Imp Gang Boss, Void Caller, like a lot of Floating Watcher. Damn it, a lot of minions need to be silenced, but still, like, would you want to play this just for that? Probably not. Next. Saboteur. 3 mana for a 4/3, again. Battlecry, your opponent's hero power costs 5 more next turn. It's a Loatheb for Inspire, well, for hero powers, aka Inspire. So you can stop your opponent from using his hero ability for 1 turn. I like it, and I suppose if... I mean, I like the fact that there's this niche card that you can use against that specific thing, and I suppose if there's an abundance of Inspire-based decks going around at any certain point, then this is sort of like a Kazan Mystic where you take it into your deck, but it's slightly less effective in many ways. You know, because you're not stealing the secret for yourself, you're just preventing the hero ability from being cast 1 turn, but, you know, in most cases instead, they could just play some minions or a spell or whatever. So, I don't know. It's not particularly useful, but it is a pretty interesting card. Next up, Fencing Coach. This guy, on the flip side, is really interesting and really useful too. So, he has a battle cry that says the next time you use your hero power, it costs 2 less. He's 3 mana for a 2/2. He is going to be like a staple in Inspire decks because basically you play him and you can use your hero ability for free. So, what the idea is, I suppose, is to get something with Inspire out, either on the previous turn or on the same turn as him, and then you play him and then bam, you get to Inspire immediately. You get to use your hero ability immediately. This is pretty good. I think this one specifically is really actually going to make Inspire decks work. I think. I may be wrong, but again, it'll be a staple in Inspire decks because hero power costing 0, that's good. That's really good. If you have a hero power that's actually going to help you out. This one is Mogor's Champion. 6 mana for an 8/5. 50% chance to attack the wrong enemy. That's like a massive ogre on like a dinosaur. 8/5. 50% chance to attack the wrong enemy. I don't know. I guess it's pretty terrible. The 8 health, I mean 8 attack is good, 5 health is not good. Turn 6, that's what I think. Next, Garrison Commander. This is our first epic. He allows you to use your hero ability twice per turn. 2 mana for a 2/3. Not bad. Garrison Commander, already implying that he's definitely going to be in all the Paladin decks to pump out the Silverhand recruits if you need them. I suppose it could work. I see him working in something with like Solemn Vigil and a couple of those other cards that are when X amount of minions die this turn, things happen or whatever, like things get cheaper, like Solemn Vigil, for instance, or with Competitive Spirit from the Paladin class cards, or, you know, it's going to be a white weenie deck where there's a bunch of small minions that you can like buff up and overrun your opponent with him, and he is 2 mana for a 2/3, which is not ridiculous. So, if you combine him with Fencing Coach, I suppose it'll only help a little bit because you'll play the first one for free, then the next one will cost, but it's okay. Then, Master of Ceremonies. 3 mana for a 4/2. Battlecry, if you have a minion with spell damage, gain +2/+2. That's pretty ridiculous, but you'd need that minion with spell damage, so she could potentially be a 6/4 for 3 mana. 3 mana for a 6/4. That's large. That's very large for 3 mana. Will she be played? Probably not, because people don't really like that much spell power, but if you do happen to make a deck with it, you could probably really hurt and scare your opponents with something like this. Because again, 3 mana, 6/4. That's big. Next up, Crowd Favorite. 4 mana for a 4/4. Whenever you play a card with Battlecry, gain +1/+1. I like him. He's not my favorite, but I guess he's going to be pretty okay. I mean, if you play him on turn, say 5. Oh no, turn 4. You put him down. 4/4. He could potentially die, maybe he doesn't. Turn 5, you can play, say, 2 minions the Battlecry, he's a 6/6. Maybe you play Abusive Sergeant on him, he's a, I don't know, 8/6 or 7/5 or whatever. It'll be a 9/6 then. Anyway, you get what I'm saying, right? So, he could be good, and it's good that they made him slightly more expensive, so he's not going to be the next Undertaker. And people generally play a lot of minions with Battlecries, so hey, he could fit in. 4 for a 4/4, much like Dark-Iron Dwarf. He's okay. Next, Grand Crusader, 6 mana for a 5/5. Battlecry, add a random Paladin card to your hand. Another reason Paladins are unhappy. 6 mana, 5/5, and you get a random Paladin card as a Battlecry, which means you will get it. So basically, you pay in 6 mana for a 5/5 body, and then a card of indeterminable value. Like, you don't know what you're going to get. You could get Tyrion. You could get the Paladin Legendary, the new one they added. You could get Avenging Wrath, Consecration, Equality, whatever, you know. You could get a buff that you could immediately put on her. She could be good, she could be bad. But she's giving you a Paladin card. Just like the other minion that we looked at gives you a Paladin hero ability, Summoning Dude. Blizzard said that they added stuff that was Paladin themed because the Grand Tournament felt very Paladinish, so it kind of fit with it. Next up, Frost Giant. It's another giant. 10 mana for an 8/8. Costs 1 less for each time you use your hero power this game. That is tracked even if he's not in your hand, which is pretty cool. So if on turn 5 you pick it up and you've used your hero ability 3 times, he will cost 7. If on turn 10 you pick it up, you used your hero ability 10 times, he'll cost 0. So that's okay. I mean, it's nice to have. I guess it's good for those long control games. But I suppose a lot of the other giants are just easier to get out there because their, well, abilities, I guess you could call it, are easier to get going or activate or whatever. Like a Molten Giant's simple. Just get below 10 life and he's free. There you go. Get closer to 10 and he costs less. Next up, Kodo Rider. This is a coolish one. 6 mana for a 3/5. Inspire, summon a 3/5 War Kodo. Just like that, every time you use your hero ability, you get a 3/5. Every single time. So if you play him on turn 8, then you could potentially get a 3-5 plus another 3-5. I don't know if that's even worth 8 mana, but if you play another hero ability, if you use it again, then you get another 3-5. And again and again and again. It could kind of spiral out of control. I don't know if the War Kodo is a beast. I get the feeling it might be. Not sure. Next, Recruiter. 5 mana for a 5-4. Inspire. Add a 2-2 Squire to your hand. Again, gonna fit in that kind of token style play. So it's the same Squire that attends the Silverhand Knight. Just a 2-2. I think it's 2-2 for a 2 mana, or yeah, it's probably 2 mana. 2 mana, 2-2. You get him every time you use your hero ability. Pretty straightforward. Okay, not amazing. I mean, you're gonna fill your hand up pretty quickly like that if you use your hero ability every turn. And on turn 5, next turn's turn 6, you should have the mana to be able to play your use your hero ability every single turn. So I suppose this could potentially actually get some use. I don't know. Next up, 6 mana for a 6-5, the Sideshow Spell Eater. Battlecry, copy your opponent's hero power. This one is weird. Everyone can be a Warlock if they play this one. I don't know why you'd want that. I mean, you're playing your class for a reason, aren't you? Your hero ability usually kind of fits with the class that you're playing, with the cards that you have in your deck. You don't really want someone else's. Now, you can copy any hero ability, so if your opponent has Jiraxis, you can copy the Infernal Summoning thing, fine. But I don't know why you'd run this just for that. 6 mana for a 6-5 is not great either. I don't know. It's interesting. Twilight Guardian. 4 mana for a 2-6. This is a dragon. There are some dragons. Battlecry, if you're holding a dragon, gain +1 attack and taunt. So 4 mana for a 3-6 with taunt is not bad. It's not bad at all. I actually think that this would be pretty okay in a, dragon deck. Because it's a dragon, so you can hold this to play the cheaper stuff. And then when this comes around, like for instance the Blackwing Technician, when this comes around, you drop it, you hopefully have a nice big legendary in your hand. It keeps you alive for a bit longer, you get to play the legendary, you win. There you go. Twilight Guardian seems okay. Next, the first legendary, Sky Captain Crag. This is a pirate. He costs 7 mana for a 4-6. He has charge and, well, it's charge. There are lots of R's in there. Costs 1 less for each friendly pirate. And he's got some sick artwork. I don't know. I guess this is obviously a staple in pirate decks, which are actually, funny enough, also kind of good with Paladin. But Rogue is now officially the pirate class, so it's going to happen. There are going to be lots of pirate rogues out there. This guy, 7 mana for a 4-6, is not amazing, but he could potentially be bigger than a 4-6 because some of the pirates, not paladins, actually buff other pirates up. So that's important to note. And charge is very good. Like, charge on something with 4-6 is nice because you actually get to kill. He can trade quite favorably. And 1 less for each friendly pirate, that's difficult to really evaluate, I'd say. Because, I mean, if you have 3, then he costs 3 less, which is 4. And that's good. So, having 3 pirates, how hard is that? How often do you have 3 minions out on the board, and all of them are pirates? In a pirate deck, you'd also have other minions out, like the ship's cannon and stuff like that. So, I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. I think he's good for a pirate deck, but obviously not for anything else. He's got charge. I guess that also makes him good for things like Sneed's Old Shredder or Confessor Paletris or any of the other things that give you random legendaries. You know? I like it. I like it, and I'm definitely going to try him in a pirate deck at some point. Next, Justicar Trueheart. 6 mana for a 6-3. Battlecry, replace your starting hero power with a better one. Now, I don't know exactly what all the better ones are. I think that I can probably guess most of them. I think the Paladin one is summon 2 Silverhand recruits instead of 1. Warlock doesn't do damage to you anymore. Shaman summons 2 totems probably. Oh no, a totem of your choice. That's what the shaman one does. Priest heals for 4, if I'm not mistaken. And so on and so forth. They're basically just slightly upgraded versions of what they were before. And it's a battle cry. So you play her, you get instant value. She's a 6/3, she'll probably die before your next turn. But you do get the value out of it because you can immediately, after that, start using your hero ability every single turn. And it's good. So for certain decks, for certain classes, this would probably be good. For others where it doesn't really matter having a slightly better hero ability, it's not as valuable. But she's, again, probably going to be a staple in the Inspire-based decks. She's not bad. Not bad at all. Now come my 2 favorites. Probably my 2 favorites in the entire TGT expansion. Adis Darkbane. I think that's how you say it. Okay. 3 mana for the 3/4. Whenever you target this minion with a spell, and U is actually bolded there, deal 3 damage to a random enemy. 3 mana for a 3/4. Legendary, of course. So whenever you target it with a buff or something like that, a spell, I suppose you could damage it to the spell as well, then you do 3 damage to a random enemy. I love this one. I seriously do. I like cheap legendaries, and this is a cheap legendary with a cool effect. Next, her sister, Fiola Lightbane. So this is Lightbane and Darkbane. She is 3 mana for a 3/4, much like her sister. Whenever you target this minion with a spell, gain Divine Shield. Great as well. I love these 2. These are my 2 favorite cards in the entire TGT expansion. I'm probably going to be using them in like all the decks I try and make just because these are going straight into my Paladin deck. I'm going to make like a Blessing Buffetin type thing and they will work so well. I mean, 3 mana. So, for instance, if you play Fiola Lightbane, if you play on turn 3 or 4, then you can maybe coin out or just play a Blessing of Might on her, and then she's essentially a 4 mana 6/4 with Divine Shield. I think that they also finally these 2 specifically are finally going to make Blessing of Wisdom like kind of good, right? And that new card that they added, the other Paladin buff, let me tell you what it's called. I forget the name. It's called Seal of the Champions. Give a minion 3 attack and Divine Shield for 3 mana. Also going to be quite great with that. Like, all of these just fit nicely with these 2 legendaries, and they're so cheap. I love that. 3 mana for a 3/4 is good. I honestly cannot wait to use these 2. By far my 2 favorites, so when I do my top 5 video for cards, I guess you know what to expect. Darkbane and Lightbane. I'm in love. Seriously, I am. Next up. Gormok the Impaler. 4 mana for a 4/4 battlecry. If you have at least 4 other minions, deal 4 damage. Again, another cheap legendary. 4 mana 4/4 is not bad. And the battlecry will work amazingly well. Again, in something that has tokens. So token Druid, token Paladin, a Zulok even. 4 mana for a 4/4 that deals 4 damage. That's pretty sick. That's 4/4/4/4. 4. Wow, that's a lot of 4s. 4 minions, 4 damage, 4 health, 4 attack, 4 mana. I kind of like Gormok the Impaler, but at the same time, having 4 minions out is not easy. In Paladin, specifically, you could muster, then you already have 3. Then he's very close to being activated. I think he's okay. Again, I like cheap legendaries. Next up, Skeletal Knight. 6 mana for a 7/4. Death Rattle, reveal a minion in each deck. If yours costs more, return this to your hand. So that's a Death Rattle Joust. Interesting, right? Different. I like it. So whenever he dies, they do this little check. And if the check passes, if you have a bigger minion, he comes back to your hand. You play him again. I'm a fan. I think he's pretty cool. I don't know if you'll see much use, but he's pretty cool. It's an interestingly designed card, and I appreciate that. Okay, it's out there. Ice Howl. He's also pretty out there. 9 mana for a 10/10 with charge. Can't attack heroes. I want to say you can like play him and then silence him, but then he won't have charge anymore. I don't know. Oh no, wait, no, hold on. Can you even silence charge? No, I think when you play the minion, he can attack that turn, and then you silence him, and then the effect is gone, then you can actually attack. I think that's how. I think you can. Not entirely sure. I don't think you can silence charge. Like, for instance, if you have a Warsong command out, you play a minion, it gives that minion charge, then even if you silence that minion, I think it can attack. Whatever. Ice Howl. Interesting. Again, it's like for if you want to Pyroblast a minion. that's pretty much what it is, right? For 1 mana less. Next, Nexus Champion Sarad. This is a big one. He is also one of my favorites. 5 mana for a 4/5. Inspire. Add a random spell to your hand. That's pretty fun. Fun card. Like, he will fit into any Inspire decks and most normal decks as well, just because of how fun he is. I would, like, be sorely tempted to just throw him in any deck I make, because a random spell, any class from the entire game. Isn't that cool? I think that's cool. And I like his artwork. He's on an ethereal camel. For God's sake. Next. Bolt Ram Shield. 6 mana for a 3/9. Whenever your hero takes damage, this minion takes it instead. So, he takes any damage directed at your face. Which is both good and bad. It's weird, because if people attack face with minions, then what happens is they get to do damage to Bolt Ram Shield here without having their minions die. It's strange, because that's in some ways a good deal for them, right? They get to go face, not lose their minions, kill your minion. But again, he could probably be quite good to counter aggro, but he costs 6. So it's a bit tough. Like, by that point, you're probably too far gone already? I don't know. Then again, you could see it as a 6 mana heal for 9. Plus he can kill some stuff as well. I don't know. Still pretty good, and it's again an interesting effect. I'm glad that they're trying new things. Next up, Chill More. 7 mana for a 6/6. This is a dragon, and he has super cool looking artwork. Taunt. Death Rattle. If you're holding a dragon, deal 3 damage to all minions. It's quite good. Very good anti-aggro. It's probably going to fit nicely in... well, I don't know if it's very good anti-aggro, but it's going to fit nicely in the Paladin Dragon decks, the maybe Dragon Warrior decks. It's just a cool card. Like, the idea of it is really cool. Does your opponent kill it? He doesn't know if there's a dragon in your hand or not. Will it do 3 damage to him? Will it not? Will it wipe his board or won't it? Does he take the risk? These are the questions. These are the questions. And that's the end of it. I did not realize that was the last one. I'm back on North Sea Kraken. So those are the neutral cards. I apologize if my throat is not doing so great. I told you I was a little under the weather, but I wanted to talk about these cards, and I wanted to do it before it was too late. So there you go. I'm such a big fan of some of them. Some of them not so much, of course. I mean, I kind of told you what I thought right now, but wow. Like, I can't wait to use all these cards in decks. Experiment with them. Probably lose all my ranks in ranked mode. I might actually have to play casual, which is probably not going to happen, but whatever. I absolutely can't wait. Like I said, these are going to be a ton of fun to mess around with. There are going to be so many new different types of decks popping up. I'm just super curious to see, like, what's going to be the next big thing. Will Inspire work? Is it going to be good enough to use? Is there going to be another Grim Patron Warriors? Grim Patron Warriors is going to be much more effective. Who knows? Who even knows? But check back here soon for the class card review. Like I said, the video that I did on the class cards, I did before this one, but I'm releasing after this one. So again, it's a little iffy like that. But my opinions didn't really change. You know, they're still exactly the same. Okay? But now at least when you watch that, you will be able to at least appreciate all the class cards, knowing what the neutrals look like. That's the important part. So I'm done. Check back soon for more. Give it a like, share it, and do all that good stuff. Most importantly though, happy grand tournament. Hopefully coming soon. Happy that.